Hi Inovecians, Julia here with another video about skills you're going to need for the sweater. The last video was about raglans, and now we're moving on to section 5, dividing for the body and sleeves. This section is only one round long, but it's got a lot of things going on in it. One of the things that's important is putting the sleeve stitches on waste yarn. That's right, we won't be needing to knit that shoulder portion anymore. So we're gonna just set it, forget it, walk away. And putting it on waste yarn means that we're gonna be able to try on our sweater if we want to at some other point. Another thing that we're gonna have to do is if you think about sleeves, they are rarely, a perfect circle like we've been knitting. They often have sort of like a flatter portion at the bottom to, accommodate that underarm. And so we're going to be casting on stitches to make that happen. And eventually we're going to be picking some of those up, making our circle again, and continuing with our sleeves. So let's get to it. Here is my white sweater here. This is the real deal. This is what I'm making. And as you can see, I've got a little bit of my pink monstrosity happening. This is going to be my waste yarn. So we'll hold on to this. All right. One thing to keep in mind, this is the beginning of my round marker. This is what I'm working with. And so I have done the first part of the row, which says knit to marker. I'm very close to that. So I'm going to knit to the marker. Oh, and one thing is you can kind of see that raglan increase there. Good to know. That's what yours should look like, a little diagonal line. Okay, so then we have RM, which means remove marker. Hopefully I don't lose that. Okay, so I'm going to be knitting one. That was sort of the raglan that I was working on before. And then it says SL1 WYIF. So that means slip one with yarn in front. Okay, so I'm going to bring my yarn to the front. So it's up there. Okay, I am going to slip it. I am going to move my yarn to the back. And then it says place the stitch on right hand needle back onto the left hand needle. And so this is kind of to like eliminate the hole a little bit that sometimes you can see at the join of sleeves. So the next thing it says is place the stitches from the left hand needle onto waste yarn. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take my trusty tapestry needle. Hopefully this fluffy yarn will go through the first time, and it does. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to put these onto my tapestry needle. I'm going to basically be slipping purlwise onto that needle. And every so often, I'm just going to be pulling through a little bit. Yarn is very fluffy here. Now, you can get stitch holders for this exact thing. They're like metal and they're sort of big clasps. And they are easier to pick up from. However, you won't be able to try your sweater on while they're in. So putting things onto waste yarn makes you able to try the sweater on because it leaves the hole on nice and loose. Okay. I'm continuing. You see my stitches flowing down that pink monstrosity. Okay. Now, I probably should have done this before. I am just going to double check my count, how many stitches I have on here, because I needed to do, 46. So I'm just going to count 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, oh, and there we go, 46. I like to count in threes. It's a thing. Okay, so I'm basically right up to this marker. So I'm gonna just take that off. All right, so we can see my pink monstrosity coming through on the white there. Notice it just looks flat right now. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just like leave a bunch of extra, and so a bunch of extra. I'm gonna snip it there. Yep, and I'm gonna leave a bunch of extra on the other side too. Okay, great. I will tie this off eventually. Make it nice and loose. Okay. Then it says cast on some stitches using the back loop method. Okay. So the back loop method is like the most basic way of casting on, and it's like what I learned first. And literally it is taking your thumb, making a loop backwards, and then putting it on the needle. So we're back here on our right hand needle, and notice if I tug on the yarn, that left hand stitch is tightened, and that's again to like keep them more tightly together. Okay, so here's the backwards loop. I'm gonna take my thumb, okay, I'm gonna send it behind the yarn, make a loop, and I'm gonna take my needle and put that loop onto it and pull it fairly tight. So there it is. There's one. There's my thumb again. I'm gonna go over and under. There's my tight loop, and I'm gonna put in again. Okay, that's 2. 3, I'm taking my thumb here, over, under. There we go, let's go through. Oh, that's 3. Over, under, that's 4. Over, under, and into it. That's 5. Over, under, and into it. That's 6. Over, under, and into it. Pull it tight. That's 7. There we go. Important to make sure that your stitches don't get twisted around here, because then you'll form a loop that you can't get out of. Okay, so then it says slip 1 from the left hand needle. Okay, so I am going to do that. There we go. Then it says pass the last cast on stitch over the slip stitch to close the hole. So there would be a little bit of a hole there, but we're going to try to avoid it by passing this stitch over. So I'm going to dig in here. Should be kind of tight. And I'm going to slip it over. And I'm going to pull tight. That's to prevent a hole from showing up. Okay, and then it says pull the working yarn, so you're going to work it tight, and then you're going to start over. So I'm going to go all the way around to my next marker. I got a ways to go. Let's work it. I am loving this yarn. It's going to be so warm and toasty. It's going to be really nice. And you know, I guess there's no reason why you couldn't make, oh, I got a hair in my sweater. Good luck, maybe. Oop, still there. I think there's no reason why you couldn't make your sweater long sleeve somehow by just knitting the sleeves when you pick it up again. But I'll leave that as a problem for future Julia to contemplate. And I'm on my bigger circular needles now, so I have plenty of space, and this feels good, not too bunchy. You can feel free to fast forward this part. Just want to show you. You can knit along with this part. About half of the way there. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Got something a little weird on my yarn. Okay. Ah. So for some reason, my yarn was tangled all the way around my chair and through some cords over here. It was kind of a hot mess. Got hair all over the table. You know, just a slice of everyday life, really. Just a slice of life. You know, sitting here knitting together. I got this. You know, I know I'm talking about manicures, but what I need is a big white table to film on. That would just be so nice. But then I have to hook it up to my computer. Who knows? Again, a problem for future Julia to solve. Right, I'm getting up close here. Let's go. And remember, I'm just knitting to the marker. And then I'm going to remove it. Okay. 2 and 1. Hooray. All right. I'm going to take that marker off. Feels good. Okay, and I can see that raglan. Very attractive. Let's go. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to knit 1. That's that raglan again. I'm going to slip 1 with the yarn in front. So I bring it in front. And then I'm going to slip 1. Boop. Okay. Then I'm going to move my yarn to the back and switch this stitch back to the left-hand needle. Okay, so now it's back here. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to get some more pink, and I'm going to take these stitches and put them onto waste yarn. I'm going to keep the yarn attached to the ball on the other side. Get the hair off the yarn. Oh, okay. Threaded through, first try again. And I'm going to slip those stitches off the left-hand needle purlwise. So that's how this goes. Okay, I'm going to give them a little tug every so often. And again, You can do this with a stitch holder, but you won't be able to try on your sweater if you want to. The stitch holder has the benefit of making it easier to pick up than on the yarn. So there we go. Keep going, keep going. Got an itch on my nose. Got to take care of. Nice little pull there. Keep going. Slipping purl-wise. It's always the way we slip so we don't get stitches twisted. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to just assume that I counted 46 stitches perfectly correctly. But you know what? If I didn't, that's okay. I get to take this marker off. Don't need you anymore. Okay, so then I am going to pull a little bit, make that nice and flat. No tension on it. That'll make it easier to pick up. If you put a lot of tension on that, it might be harder. And again, my tight knitting friends, be careful. Okay, gonna leave plenty of yarn on either side of that. Boop. You can have a much less yarn if you want to tie that up. Okay, that's great. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to here where I started picking up those stitches, and I'm going to do my backwards loop stitches. I need 7. So I'm going to go, I got my thumb here, over and around. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 5, 6, and 7. There we go. That's me. That's me done. Make sure they're not twisted. They should be sort of facing inward, like the same direction as your other stitches. Okay. Then I am going to go back over to the left-hand needle at the end of my picked up stitches onto that waste yarn. I am going to slip one from there, purl-wise, of course. And then I'm going to take the last cast on stitch that I made. I'm going to pick it up and slip it over top. And I'm going to pull that yarn tight. So now they're connected. That's going to prevent from making the hole. And then, guess what? All I have to do is knit to the end of the row now. So I'm just going to knit a couple of stitches. And there we go. Alrighty. Now it seems secure. Okay. So now, to show you the full effect, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my sweater. So I'm going to do a little transition here. Move this camera out of the way. All right. So let's see, where is my beginning of row marker? I want to make sure to hold that up to the back and the other part to the front. Okay. Okay. So here's the neck of my sweater. And here is the sleeve. Da, da, da. It is marked off with this pink waste yarn. And then what I can do is with all this extra, you can tie it off tightly, but I don't. I would just tie it off loosely so that I know that my arm will go in if I decide to try on this sweater. So I'm going to try, tie this off loosely at the bottom, just like a regular little knot, because you can just clip it afterwards. So even if you were to do the fiercest knot in town, like just the most aggressive knot, I'm just going to do a basic one. Tie them both together at the same time, send them around, whatever. Yeah. So I don't know if you can You can even see that. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't have to be big. So now it's secure. And the other side will look similar, but I haven't tied it off yet. And I just did these. I just cast those on. So that's going to form the sort of flat side of our sleeve. And now all I have to do is watch, like, I don't know, 6 movies. And then I'll be ready for the short row back shaping. So let's go. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, you can slow down, watch it as many times as you want, or you can totally cheat on me and go to any other video on backwards loop method if you want. But anyway, now you know how to separate the body and the sleeves. This trick works on all sweaters. Basically, you're gonna have to separate that body and sleeves somehow usually if you're doing a top-down construction. And so now you know what this looks like and the theory behind it. So, everyone, have a great day and happy knitting.